and good morning to you all. I'm Vic Baker, and it is always a pleasure to present in front of you in whatever capacity. That may be advocating for our frail and elderly communities in my role on Debbie Tote's Choice in Aging Board of Directors, education and mentorship, energy reliability impacts in my role in PG&E, or regarding economic vitality and quality of life as our mission in my role as the chair of the East Bay Leadership Council. Today is an opportunity to partner with Dan Geiger and Mariana Moore of the Contra Costa Budget Justice Coalition to help you be successful at designing and implementing budgets that incorporate both social equity and racial equity. Leader to leader, budgeting is my least favorite thing to do. Over the course of my career, I have managed budgets as little as $80 million and upwards of $700 million. And it seems to take half a year to get it done. And as soon as we finish, we need to start all over again. I want you to know that I empathize with the grueling process you must undertake. I am particularly empathetic about your budget challenges amidst our current health crisis and civil uprising, where thousands of your constituents are calling on you to ensure that social and racial equity are meaningfully addressed in how the county prioritizes its resources. Despite all the challenges, you must develop a county budget for Contra Costa. As leaders, we have both a fiduciary and moral responsibility. I'm a numbers guy. As a recovering engineer and MBA, I jump to numbers to balance budgets. I have done this because that is how I was taught. And in my early years, I did not consider the impact of budgets on any particular demographic group, primarily because the most negatively impacted demographic groups are usually not at the decision table or even in the room where decisions are being made. I was concerned more about the widgets and ignored the social inequities that continue to permeate because of funding decisions. It's wrong to assume that racial and social inequities are solely the responsibility of marginalized people to address. While one single public budget can never reverse or end statistical discrimination on its own, it's time to end the practice of turning a blind eye to racism that exists in our status quo of how our public funding gets allocated. Budgets do impact communities. And I can tell you firsthand, as a Black boy who grew up in unincorporated West Pittsburgh, that there was and still is a significant difference and inequitable allocation of resources throughout the county's unincorporated areas. But why should we incorporate a racial justice and equity analysis in budgets? Because budgets are the key driver in what, when, and how policy is considered, authored, and executed. It is the use of applicable racial justice and equity analysis on department budgets that will hold our leaders accountable. Accountable for what, you might ask? Well, accountable for ensuring an equitable representation in the room and at the table when funding decisions are being made. Accountable for ensuring our supplier base is diverse. Internally, this act alone can help move the needle in workplace discrimination by increasing the number of responsible, underrepresented groups involved in hiring and promoting county employees. It will ensure equitable pay scale and decrease the now disproportionate rate of employee releases along racial lines. Externally, and as resources are allocated to communities, extra effort to fund projects, programs, and community development in those communities who have been socially closed off can finally happen if it is prioritized. We have the ability and the opportunity to be proactive and invest in our traditionally voiceless communities. This can happen all because you insisted the budgets be delivered to you with a social and racial justice analysis that will determine department leader allocation and their performance. To say it simply, No racial justice and equity, no piece of the budgetary pie. Today, you are in for a treat. Dan Geiger and Mariana Moore brought in the heavyweights and Sarah Truhaft to present to you the state of equity in Contra Costa, so you can see the work that lay ahead of you. And Cheryl Sadut, who will speak to you about establishing the Office of Racial Justice and Social Equity. So thank you for your time. And now I'm going to turn it over to Sarah Truhaft, the Managing Director of Policy Link.